Forget romance, forget privacy, forget pleasure. Buckle up as we expose the dark, repressive, and horrifying truth about sex in the Middle Ages, a reality so bizarre and suffocating you'll kiss your modern life in thanksgiving. It will shock you to learn that medieval European societies didn't just have strong views about men and women, they built an oppressive cage around intimacy itself, especially sexuality. Forget freedom. Your most private moments were rigidly policed by the all-powerful church. Attitudes towards mating were almost entirely dictated by religious dogma. Intimacy was only permissible between spouses, and even then, trapped under a suffocating mountain of rules and etiquette. Many of these rules seem utterly laughable and mind-blowing today. Trust me, after we reveal the intimate lives we've uncovered, you'll be profoundly relieved you weren't born in those times. The European Middle Ages fascinate because their culture is radically different from ours, yet undeniably similar. Modern Western culture directly descends from medieval Europe. We inherit many of its core ideas, but twist and apply them in entirely new ways. This clash makes their intimate world both alien and unsettlingly familiar. Our knowledge comes from diverse sources, but one stands out for its relentless control: the Church in Western Europe. The Church didn't just preach, it oversaw all laws concerning personal morality. Forget secular courts. The ecclesiastical court was the go-to authority throughout the Middle Ages for matters of the flesh. Countless religious laws and proclamations attempted to micromanage when, how, and with whom you could have relations. Imagine being forbidden on Sundays, the Lord's Day, and on Thursdays and Fridays, days of preparation for communion. Worse yet, picture 3 agonizingly long periods of forced abstinence, 47 to 62 days before Christmas, at least 35 days for Lent, and 50 to 70 days around Pentecost. Nearly half the year was off limits. Finding a place to be intimate was a nightmare. Privacy was a luxury almost non-existent in cramped medieval homes and communities. Beds weren't private sanctuaries. In humble households, they were shared with children and other relatives. In wealthier homes, servants often slept right in their master's room. The lack of seclusion forced couples into desperate acts. A staggering amount of intimacy happened out in the open, in fields, backyards, alleyways, even cemeteries. People brazenly used empty churches in broad daylight or vacant houses. Royals took it to extremes. Kings consummated marriages publicly to prove the Queen's infants were legitimate heirs. Peter the Great had a special viewing room bed for this exact purpose, still visible in the Hermitage Museum, a performance for the court, not a private moment. Even protection was crude and condemned. The best-known documentation of the condom dates to King Minos of Crete, around 300 BC. The medieval church, and often still today, considered condoms or anything hindering natural ejaculation a mortal sin. Yet, historians confirm people did use them back then, primarily to combat terrifying STDs. Prepare to be horrified. These condoms were nothing like modern ones. They were fashioned from animal bladders, intestines, and linen. And the grossest part? They were reused over and over again. The core belief poisoned everything. Sex was considered inherently evil, tolerated only as a necessary evil for making babies. This meant you could do it, but you were absolutely not supposed to enjoy it. If pleasure was your goal, that was a sin. Consider yourselves sinners. Repent now. This warped view shaped language itself. Verbs for intercourse were active for men, the doers, and passive for women, the done to. Positions undermining male dominance, like woman on top, were fiercely frowned upon. Women were labeled passive vessels, yet in a stunning contradiction, male writers, clerics, doctors, storytellers, constantly portrayed women as insatiably lustful, actively seeking encounters, even using sorcery to ensnare men. Virginity was an obsessive spiritual state, not just physical. A single unclean thought was enough for the church to declare you spiritually impure, true for both men and women. Self-pleasure and even nightmares of demonic penetration could tarnish your honor. But here's the bizarre twist. Lost virginity could be won back. In her visions, the mystic Marjorie Kempe, mother of over a dozen children, was told by Jesus she would be a virgin once again in heaven because of her pure heart and mind. Physically unchanged? Irrelevant. Faith offered a celestial reset button. For women especially, virginity was a crucial badge of honor. Losing it, even post-marriage, led many to pray for the rest of their lives to regain it spiritually, believing this purity granted higher levels of divinity. Categorizing people as gay or straight is modern, alien to the medieval mind. However, people exclusively or primarily attracted to the same gender certainly existed throughout history, even without the label. We know the Church's stance on homosexuality today. It was infinitely worse then. Discovery meant brutal, vicious punishment. Stoning, burning, hanging. Gays lived in constant terror, forced to flee or hide for their very lives. Medieval physicians viewed sex through a terrifying medical lens. Too much was a genuine health hazard. Conventional wisdom blamed sexual excess for noblemen's deaths. John of Gaunt, 14th century Duke of Lancaster, allegedly died from putrefaction of his genitals and body caused by rampant fornication, likely venereal disease, but contemporaries blamed sheer excess. His case echoed the tragic tale of Ralph, Count of Vermandois. Recovering from illness, his physicians strictly forbade intercourse. Ralph ignored the warning. The doctor detected the transgression in Ralph's urine and prophesied death within 3 days, a prediction grimly fulfilled. Why? Medieval medicine relied on the 4 humors: blood, phlegm, black bile, yellow bile. Health required humoral balance, maintained partly by expelling fluids, including semen. Moderation was key. Too much sex depleted the body fatally, but the trap snapped both ways. Too little sex, celibacy, was equally deadly. Long-term celibacy meant retaining excess semen, believed to damage the heart and body, causing headaches, anxiety, weight loss, and even death. Celibacy was a spiritual virtue, but a medical nightmare. King Louis VII of France, remaining faithful on the Albigensian Crusade, 1209–29, was widely believed to have died from enforced celibacy, the era's most famous victim of death by abstinence. Women weren't spared. Medical theory claimed women produced seed needing regular expulsion. Inactive women risked suffocation of the womb from retained seed, causing fainting, shortness of breath, and potentially death. See, the sheer repression, danger, and bizarre contradictions of medieval intimacy are staggering. Doesn't modern life suddenly feel like paradise? If this journey into the dark, controlled, and often terrifying bedroom of the past shocked you, remember to support and subscribe.